Alright, guys, welcome back to The Open Shot, episode 11. I hope everyone's having a great holiday week. Today, we're going to be talking about news in the league, our standouts, of course, and how the big man game could be coming back due to the Warriors not being in the league.
Alright, guys, episode 11 underway. Let's get into the news. So, first up, the Milwaukee Bucks. Eric Bledsoe out 2 weeks with a leg injury. He has an avulsion fracture. I don't know what that is, but
Sounds dangerous.
He's out for 2 weeks for it. That's obviously a big loss for Milwaukee. Going up to the Celtics, their center Robert Williams will be out for 3 weeks with limited basketball activities while his bone edema in hip up heals. Now, coming down to our part of town, the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat suspended Dion Waiters for 6 games because apparently, the official title was conduct detrimental to the team, which is what he got suspended for in the beginning of the season, and for when he ate that fucking gummy in the airplane. But apparently the whole drama in it was because he called out sick for practice or something like that. He pretty much told the Heat organization he was calling out sick, and he was on a boat in Miami, and he put it on his Instagram. So that he used a sick day, and then he just fucking put it on Instagram.
Yeah, he had a mental health day, bro.
So with that, I think the Heat are finally done with him. They're looking to move Dion Waiters as soon as possible. They want to part ways with him, which is, good news for us, because if your name isn't James Johnson or Dion Waiters, I don't want you on the Heat, bro. Like, you're the only ones that are expendable. Also for the Heat are no longer interested in Chris Paul, thank God. But we are interested in the Miami Heat are actually looking to getting Drew Holiday from the New Orleans Pelicans. What do you think about that?
You already know how I feel about this man. I want him on our team. He
Bro.
fits well with the system, and like what he's doing in the Pelicans with those guys. Everyone's young. He's a veteran point guard. He's not,
We were talking about him last week.
No, yeah, he's not a selfish star. I think he'll do great in our system, and he plays great defense, which is something that we need.
Yeah,
going into the playoffs
and
things like that.
We need a ball handler. We need a guy that can space out the floor. With Goran Dragic and Winslow out recently, that's pretty much not having two of our point guards. Even though Winslow's always been kind of like a forward, but he's been a lot of a playmaker and a really big part of the offense in terms of ball handling. But also kind of skipping over to the Thunder, or
wait, you're moving segments now?
No.
Oh, okay, because I had another Heat news, but we could wait for after.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about this because since we're no longer interested, the Heat are no longer interested in Chris Paul, but word around the league is that no one's interested in Chris Paul just because of his huge contract. He's already his contract's $30+ million, and he's just not producing at the same level he used to. So it's gonna be really hard for the Thunder to move him. And also, I saw some reports that apparently there was rumors that Drew Holiday would be available in trade talks, but also the manager of the New Orleans Pelicans said that he's not available for trades. So I don't know. A lot of times they just say that to help out the players' feelings, to stop bad media, and then sometimes maybe he may not be shopping now, but look, remember what we did when we got Dragic? We got him literally at the last second on the trade deadline. Maybe we could be able to do a deal like that.
Yeah. But to finish off this Heat talk we got going on, our boy Woj, the boy, he said, and I quote, "No one is going to want to play the Miami Heat in the playoffs."
Good.
How do you feel about that? I want you to go.
Amazing. Dude, no, I don't even want people. I want people to be scared of us in the regular season. Right now we're literally watching the Philly Heat game right now. We're winning right now, and just all the Philly fans, fuck you, bro.
Fuck all of you, man.
We have it's not our fault that we have Jimmy Butler and he's actually happy here.
You just gotta trust the process, man.
Trust the process. But dude, the Heat are obviously a great team. We went all in on them last week. But they're definitely, Pat Riley definitely knows what he's doing. The Godfather, bro. And Riley we trust. So next up, the Jazz. Conley is going to miss more games after re-aggravating his hamstring injury. So that's a big loss to the Jazz. And to our favorite organization, bro. The New York Knicks. So I have this in order of when I got the news. And I just want you guys to see how ridiculous it is. So the Knicks shortlist for head coach was Tom Thibodeau, Jeff Van Gundy, and Mark Jackson.
They swore that they were gonna get Mark Jackson. That wasn't gonna happen.
And I think those are, in terms of like considering them, those are good picks.
Yeah,
those are 3 really good coaches having your short list.
But the real question is, do they want to freaking go there?
Next up, they ended up hiring David Blatt.
Okay.
The guy that didn't win a ring when he had LeBron, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love on the team. This dude has like 4 EuroLeague championships, and he still decides to come over to the U.S. And for what?
He's not Luka Doncic. He can't do that.
For the shittiest organization in the NBA right now. So the Knicks, instead of actually going in and getting Van Gundy or Mark Jackson or Thibodeau, they hired David Blatt instead. I think that's just like, I mean, I don't want to say no disrespect to David Blatt, but I don't think he's the answer. I think keeping Fizdale. I mean, I don't even think the head coaching position is what the problem was with the Knicks at all. It's the upper management. It's the president, it's the CEO, whatever, the owner, whoever it is, that's allowing all these, crazy, quite frankly, ridiculous transactions to happen of these players and the minutes going around in the offseason moves.
It's not 2K. You can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't just
you can't just restart a new profile, bro. Like, these are permanent. This is real life. This is real money.
You already fucked up so many times. You can't keep doing it. That's it.
Also in the Knicks, apparently Dennis Smith Jr. is getting a lot of interest in trade talks. I love him. He's such an explosive player, so hopefully he goes to a better team. And, I mean, hopefully for the Knicks, I mean, like we said, I don't know if it was last week or the week before that, we don't want to see the Knicks do bad, even though we don't like their fans and stuff like that in the organization. But, I mean, I still don't want them to be like such a bad organization. I want to see like a very evened out league, and hopefully if they get stuff for Dennis Smith Jr., maybe if they move Morris, and maybe if they could do some good offseason moves, maybe like getting Brandon Ingram, like we were saying. I mean, I don't want Brandon Ingram to go to a bad organization, but I think he could definitely help out.
The tricky thing with the Knicks is that they have such a bad reputation. I mean, yeah, you get it. It's the Garden, it's the Mecca, but their reputation is so bad that it just does a disservice to them. And it's like, how can they attract anyone without just being the Mecca of basketball? You need, like, at this point, they need more than that. And what can they do to turn that around?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the question. Like, it's like, it sucks because I would like the Knicks to be relevant, like we said, and Brandon Ingram, like, he's a talent, but it just, like, for example, just this summer, they thought they were going to get KD, they thought they were going to get Zion, and they thought they were going to get Kyrie. Well, that didn't fucking happen because they went to Brooklyn. What does that say? You know?
Exactly. Like, you're not even the best team in your state anymore. Like, the battle of the boroughs doesn't exist.
It's not a battle. It's a manslaughter. That's what it is. They took, like, Brooklyn came, and they took that title, and they just stole it from them. They didn't even ask for it. They just took it.
And I feel like they're thinking, like, I don't know. I feel like also the fans are thinking, oh, if the Lakers can do it, why can't we? There's only one LeBron. Like, LeBron James, I think, is the only player that can actually go into an organization and switch it up, like, on a dime. And the other players that may have that capability, a.k.a. Giannis, he's definitely not going to go to the Knicks. Kawhi, he's on the Clippers, and he's happy there from what we see. KD, he's committed to Brooklyn.
That's if you could tell what he's feeling, bro.
True, yeah. But, I mean, they're doing great. I mean, KD is committed to Brooklyn. Who else? You know what I mean? Like, James Harden is not going to leave Houston. And I don't even think James Harden really has that much power. Like, no disrespect to him. Like, he's an amazing player. But there's certain types of, like, generational players, like those players that I mentioned, that can actually flip an organization on the dime. And I don't think James Harden is one of those players.
Yeah, they could also land Dion Waiters, man.
Bro, I'll trade you Dion Waiters for 5 years power forwards. I don't care.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, bro. I'll take a bag of chips. So next up, Mavericks. So unfortunately, Luka Doncic, playing the Miami Heat last Saturday, suffered an ankle injury. It looked bad, but he's only going to be out for a couple of weeks. it was pretty scary. Like his whole ankle, pretty much like his ankle hit the floor. But apparently the X-rays were negative, so that's really good. It wasn't that serious. It's probably must be like a pretty wicked strain.
Look, honestly, man, I see it as a Christmas gift from the Heat. He got free load management, workers' comp. He's straight, bro. He could chill now. He has had such a, you know how we feel about him.
Yeah.
He's had such a great beginning of the season. You know, it looked bad though. Initially, when it happened, I'm like, fuck, he's gonna be out for the entire year.
It was basically like he went to jump off his leg. I think it was his right leg. He went to jump off his right leg, and he sprained his ankle, but he still jumped. You know what I mean? So his ankle completely rolled, and he pretty much. Like, his ankle literally touched the floor.
It was bad.
Yeah, no, it looked bad. And apparently, like, according to... I saw a report that at halftime during that game, because that happened in, like, the first quarter, I think.
Yeah, the first quarter.
In the first quarter. Apparently, at halftime, he was already working out in underwater treadmill, which is really good. So, apparently, he just has, like, a bad strain.
He's not human.
Well, yeah, he's disgusting. But, I mean, that's really good for him. I'm glad that he's not... You know, I'm glad he didn't break his ankle or has, like, a high ankle sprain or something like that. You know, he's only going to be out for a couple of weeks, but yeah. So, next up, like we said, nobody has interest in CP3's contract, way too much money, and some good news about Amari Stoudemire. I'm a big fan of Amari Stoudemire, especially when he was on the Knicks. I love that Knicks team, you know, with like Melo, Stoudemire, Jason Kidd, J.R. Smith. Amari Stoudemire is trying an NBA comeback this year, so let's see if maybe somebody will sign him.
From what I've seen interviews and things like that, he looks like he's in great shape.
Yeah, and
he played in the Big Three as well.
Yeah, and I think he also came off of a season in China. So I think their season is over already, so that's why he's trying to get an NBA comeback now, which is great.
Yeah, I like him. I want to see him back.
I mean, I think if there's any team that needs veteran presence, interior defense, and a decent rebounder, Amari Stoudemire is your guy.
Yeah, and I think he could land a home, and you know, based on the topic we're going to be talking about soon, I feel like he can land a home, especially with his play and his veteran leadership and things like that. So,
let's get into the standouts. You want me to start?
Please.
Okay. So I got two standouts. First one, you saw it coming. Bam Adebayo, man, Eastern Conference Player of the Week. He's doing
walking triple double. Don't at me. Don't do it.
You on where, bro? You don't even got Twitter, bro.
I don't. That's the best part. You don't have. I don't want you.
You can't add him.
Because you shouldn't.
So Eastern Conference Player of the Week. In the last week, he's averaged 14.6 games, 12 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 1.6 steals, and 2 blocks. And for a center, that's an amazing lineup, especially for such a young center like him. He's only this is his third year in the league. 6 assists from a center, like. Even though that's kind of the trend happening now, where a lot of centers are becoming playmakers, kind of like Nikola Jokic and, Giannis. Even though he's not like a big man center, but he's 6'11", you know what I mean? It's crazy how these players can be such an amazing rebounder and still make plays. Especially like with him last year, like he wasn't averaging that last year. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't playmaking last year. He got a triple double versus the Mavericks, and He had a great stat line against the Lakers, even though we should have won in the loss against the Lakers. We should have won that game, but whatever. And in the loss to Memphis, he got 14 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks, which just proves that if he needs to, or like in critical situations, even though we did lose, he's still capable of getting those steals and blocks. He's a defensive pressure. He's a defensive-minded player, and I love how he's becoming, like a very well-rounded center, especially on our team. So that's one. Now, second, the Indiana Pacers, bro. What a week. What a week they've had. They're on a 4-game winning streak, including Lakers and Boston.
They're taking bodies, man.
Bro, they've been playing really good. They're 6th in the East right now with a 19-9 record. So, I mean, the fact that they're 19-9 and they're 6th, I think that kind of proves that, they're winning 66% of their games, generally, and they're 6th. So I think that means that the East is really building up again, like how we've always wanted. It's like no longer like West heavy, even though the West is still heavy. But the fact that the East is, I remember before, like you'll be 50-50 Like you'd be at a 500 team and only winning half of your games, and you were 6th seed. You know what I mean? Like that's how like the bar was. Like the bar was low in the East. Now, not only the Pacers in general, but some of their players, especially Domantas Sabonis, he's recorded double doubles in the last 4 games, and he's averaged 16.25 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists in the last week. He had a huge lineup against the Lakers where they beat them. They beat the Lakers, bro. 26 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists on 66% shooting. I mean, the fact that the Pacers are able to like par up with the Lakers is insane. You know, just like how we did last week. Like we were able to par up with the Lakers on Friday night, but you know, we're second in the East. They're 6th in the East, and they were able to par up with the Lakers. And the Lakers lost because Rondo decided to take a fucking 3-pointer from the logo that he knows he can't even make a wide open 3, and he decides to take a 3-pointer from the logo. But along with that, in other games, Aaron Holiday had a great week, especially against the Hornets. 23 points in 20 minutes off the bench. 23 points in 20 minutes off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon, he stepped up in the game versus the Celtics. 29 points and 8 assists. 60% field goal, 66% three-point range. 66% three-point percentage. And he was 100% from free throw. 15 free throws, bro.
Okay, James Harden.
I mean, I don't mind. Like, I hate when James Harden does it every game. But when you have just, like, a good game like that, it's great. You know what I mean?
You're not
like,
abusing it. It just
yeah,
comes
you're not
to
abusing
you.
it. Yeah, like, you just happen to get fouled like that.
And like, one thing about the Indiana Pacers that I actually really like is they kind of remind me of, like, that one team every year. They're like a sleeper team. They're kind of like the Nuggets or like the Spurs even.
Yeah,
where,
like we weren't expecting them to be this good.
Like, you don't really talk, like, yeah, obviously they're a great team. Like it's not really disrespecting them, but, you know, when we talk about teams, we talk about, like, you know, the main teams. They're one of those teams that are, like, you don't really talk about them, but they're still really great, and they just kind of move in silence, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the Pacers right now have 5 people averaging in double digits in points. Like, they're top 5 in free throw percentage. They're top 10 in 3-point percentage. They're top 5 in turnovers and assist to turnover ratio. They're having a great year this year. They're second in the division behind Milwaukee. Milwaukee's 24-4, and they're 19-9. And like I said, they're 6th in the East. I mean, and they're hot right now. You know, they're on a 4-game winning streak. They just had a really great week this week, and you know, I'm proud of them. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't think that they're gonna be, you know, great, and being on a 4-game winning streak. And mind you, they face on Friday the Sacramento Kings, which will probably be an easy game for them. Like, I think they're gonna win. But this 4-game winning streak, they started it with the Celtics. They beat the Celtics, and they lost, and they ended it so far. The last game was with the Lakers. So they did Celtics, Hawks, Hornets, Lakers. I'm proud of them. And I mean, and if they would have beaten the Clippers on Monday, on December 9, they would have a 6-game winning streak, because before that they beat New York.
I mean,
you know, New York's a shitty team, but you know, they lost that game they lost to the Clippers by 11 points. So I mean, just the fact that they're, you know, a lot of people expect that just because you're the Lakers or the Clippers that you're going to be blowing out people. Even though they're playing great, they're still, like, the games that they're losing are, you know, they lost to the Lakers. The Lakers lost to the Pacers by only 3 points, and you know, it's just surprising to see. So that's why they're my standout for the week.
Well, this week I did one standout because I'm tired of talking about the same fucking teams every week, which is the Lakers and the Mavericks.
Literally.
But I mean, quick shout out to Kristaps Porzingis. He really did his thing.
Yeah, he stepped up in the game without.
He stepped up, but you know, I talk about this team way too damn much, so I'm gonna limit that. But the main spotlight today is J Morant or John Morant, however you want to pronounce it.
Bro, he's a stud.
Yo, I don't know, like, it's like I'm talking about Memphis now. Before you wouldn't really talk about Memphis. Now, like, he's bringing this energy that we haven't seen, you know, in forever. And right now, he's averaging 18 points a game on 47.1% field goal shooting and 43% from 3, which is crazy for a rookie, you know?
Yeah.
And he's catching bodies on those dunks, bro. Have you seen those?
Bro, I feel like he's a really, like complete player. You know what I mean? Like he's a very all around player. He can shoot the ball. He can drive it in. He can muscle it up. He's not afraid of the paint. He's not afraid of he's very confident in his shot, and he's. I mean, like we say, like we love Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn just because we're from Miami and stuff like that. But he's really the front runner for Rookie of the Year. Yeah,
and with Zion out and him taking his time, I don't see why he's not the front runner at the current moment. He's like pretty much. He's kind of like what Donovan Mitchell was for the Utah Jazz when he first came into the league.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Just a little less explosive.
A little less explosive, but he's
more all around.
He's more like fundamental.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's doing what he needs to do. Which
that's my standout. And currently, the Memphis Grizzlies are on a 2-game winning streak. They beat us, and they also beat. Let me see.
And just like looking at their roster, like they don't have so much, that much talent on it.
Mm-hmm.
At center, they really only have one player, which is as a true center, Jonas Valanciunas, who's he used to be on the Raptors, but he's a good player. But other than that, they have Andre Iguodala, but he's not playing.
Yeah, he's just waiting to get waived. Yeah, he wants to go to a championship team.
Yeah, like he wanted to get bought out, but he's not. The Grizzlies want to get something for him, which is understandable. Like he can play, so I mean, that's just like part of like the business. But looking at their team, Grayson Allen, they drafted him, and he turned out to be not a bust, but
not what
what they expected. He was really big in college, but Tyus Jones is a good player, but Jay Moran is obviously outperforming him. Like he's a starter, and like he's doing way better than him
in his first year.
Yeah. And not to take anything away from Tyus Jones, because Tyus Jones was a good player, but this is his 5th year in the league, and he hasn't really performed that well. But going back to like the point I'm trying to get at is that Jay Moran is pretty much bringing relevance back to the Grizzlies. Without Mike Conley, without Marc Gasol, that's not there anymore. It's he's really bringing back that kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't even know what I'm trying to like that. They're becoming like a relevant team to watch. Yeah, even though they're just 10-17.
Like,
they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of promise, especially with Jay Moran at the helm of it.
So yeah, that was my sound of the week. I'm just tired of talking about the same damn team every week.
Bro, so let's get down to our topic. The Warriorless effect. Big men are back, man.
I'm happy.
Watching and I really noticed watching the Lakers and Heat game just how dominant not only Anthony Davis, but McGee and Howard they're having a great year. Like even like they're definitely the type of players that you have to watch them to appreciate them. Like you can't just look at the stats and look at the box score or whatever. You have to see like what they're doing on the floor, how they're spacing, how they're bullying people, and it's really great to see.
No, yeah, like I feel like a lot of people like to get caught up in stats, and I feel like everything is like a number game, which is kind of sad because like you said it best, like you need to watch these guys in action because it's more than just scoring a point or getting a rebound or getting a block. It's a lot more complex than that. And these guys are veterans, and yeah, they're not what they used to be, especially Dwight Howard. He's not, as dominant as he once was in Orlando, but he's still a vet, and he brings, veteran presence to this Lakers team that they're gonna need if, they want to win the finals. I feel like that's a great piece that they have, especially with McGee and everything.
Yeah, it's a good rotation.
And not only that, like, that helps out Davis a lot, and just kind of they play off each other's games, and that's why they're so dominant. That's why they have, they're tied for the best record with Milwaukee right now.
Yeah, and I just love the fact that like centers are back. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this offseason, whatever center's a free agent, even though the free agent market, like the free agent class this year or this offseason is going to be like too coveted. I feel like if you're a center, you're going to get some big money because no matter what teams want to sign are players that are going to help them beat the best team. So back then, with the Warriors in the last however many years, 5 years, especially even with the Heat, the Heat never really had a true center.
They play small ball.
They play a lot of small ball, but they always wanted that center. They wanted to have that.
If we had a center, bro, I'm telling you right now, if we had not a dominant center, we don't need a dominant center.
If we had Hassan Whiteside, like if we signed Hassan Whiteside instead of Chris Anderson when we did like Birdman, over, bro.
If we had
that's what we were missing, like rebounding.
Not even like if you gave us like a Tristan Thompson, someone like that, bro.
Like a role player that could just rebound. But anyway, bro. But like going back to that, for example, the last 5 years with the Warriors and even the 4 years before that with the Heat, people just sign players so that way they can kind of emulate the style or at least have a good defense against those teams. Now with the Warriors, you're not gonna sign, big men because the Warriors' death lineup was Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, and at center, who do they have? Zaza Pachulia. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have like a real center there, and people were seeing the Warriors lighting it up from three, where Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson were lighting it up from three. They were leading the league in 3-point percentage, leading the league in 3-point attempts and in makes. Stephen Curry broke a record one of the years. Klay Thompson had what was it, like 30 something points in a quarter, and they were just lighting it up. They had Draymond Green, who could shoot the three ball every once in a while in open shots or in catch and shoot situations. They had Andre Iguodala being a 3-and-D type of guy, but they never had like a center. So teams were thinking, okay, we don't need to worry about having a big man on the floor that's going to slow us down. We need to worry about having fast role players or fast perimeter defense players that can stop them. And if they drive it in, then we don't have to worry too much about having a center to stop them. We can make do with this. We can conserve our salary or our cap or whatever to go to, forwards and guards. Now, with LeBron going to the Lakers, I think that's definitely changed. Not last year, but I think this year it's really becoming a big thing where he got Anthony Davis, he got McGee, he got Howard, and let's not forget, they still have DeMarcus Cousins, bro. That's stupid.
You forgot the most important name on that lineup.
What?
Alex Caruso.
Fuck. Dude, but like
the bald mamba.
Fuck, dude. Did they call him that?
I think so.
Bro, that's the first time I heard that.
Whatever, it makes sense.
Dude, but like it's just crazy to see because, even if you look around the league, Andre Drummond's getting a lot of praise. Andre Drummond has really been putting up these types of numbers his whole career, being right now he's leading the league in rebounds, but he's always been a top 5 rebounder, and the last couple of years he's been leading. Even I remember in the Heat era, DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan was an all-star, but what DeAndre Jordan did was blocks and rebounds, and he didn't become an all-star because of those stats. He became an all-star just because of the popularity of Lob City and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you look at the league now with all the big men, look at Bam Adebayo, for us, for the Miami Heat. He's like I think he's going to be eventually kind of like a template for the center position. Someone that he doesn't shoot the three, he doesn't shoot the mid-range shot, but he's great in the post. He can move, he's quick, he has great ball handling, he can play make, but most importantly, he's a great rebounder and interior defender. Another big guy, Kristaps Porzingis, we were just talking about him. He's an amazing big man. Andre Drummond, like I said, Domantas Sabonis from the Pacers, Jonathan Isaac, he's leading the league in blocks. Clint Capella, Montrezl Harrell, just look at how integral they are in their organizations. You know what I mean? Like, even though the Clippers have Lou Will, Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Montrezl Harrell was a big person that they wanted to keep on their roster and is a big part of their defense and their offense. Same with the Rockets with Clint Capella. Clint Capella's been in Houston his entire career, and he's somebody that the Rockets don't see as expendable. So I don't know. I just feel like the whole switches, the whole nature of the league is really shifting to, I guess, more traditional basketball, but with the twist. 3-pointers are still important, but rebounding and blocks are really becoming a thing now because everybody wants to stop the Lakers. Like, now you have to have, before you need to have an answer for Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, or J.R. Smith catch and shoots. You know what I mean? Like, obviously everybody wants an answer for LeBron and Kawhi, and KD, but there's no answers for that. But everyone just thought, okay, we just need to up our perimeter defense, make sure we don't allow the 3-pointer, make sure that they don't. Let's just make sure that teams don't do that. Especially with the Rockets, like with Mike D'Antoni, he's really upping up the 3-point kind of philosophy where they take the most 3-pointers in the game. But now you have to worry about, okay, now we have the Los Angeles Lakers, and LeBron's always going to be LeBron, but Anthony Davis is having an insane year, and an MVP year, which, yeah, he's had an MVP years before, but like just seeing the way he plays, I just feel like he's playing with such a different like personality now in the Lakers. You know, he's really playing bully ball. He's being nasty, but it's great. You know what I mean? Like it's still like respectful. He's playing within the roles. He's not being annoying, but there's no stopping a lineup of LeBron and Anthony Davis without a big man, especially when you have McGee and Howard coming off the bench.
No, for sure. And I feel like what I've noticed these past couple of years, like you just said it, like, you know, the game was different because everyone tried stopping, you know, Clay and Steph because they were the best 3-point shooting team. When they had such a, you know, dynamic team like that, everyone wants to beat that team. So they have to develop a new, like you said, a new way to stop that. But what I've noticed is that whoever like wins the championship, the style of play kind of like caters to them.
Yeah, because you gotta the teams want to stop them.
And the crazy thing is, we talked about how Kawhi balanced the league because he went to the Clippers with Paul George and all that. But if the Clippers do win the championship, just imagine, like, people are gonna be like, damn, like, defense wins championships, which it does, and that style is gonna be more like, kind of, at least until they get beaten. That's what people are gonna adopt because they want to stop that, which is exciting as hell to me because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and the Raptors were a really evened out team too. You know what I mean? Like they had their times, but they weren't like a 3-point heavy team. They weren't an interior heavy team. They really played the ball evenly, and they were a very good defense team. And I'm a strong believer of that. Like I love defensive teams, especially since we're Heat fans. They're really big on emphasizing defense, especially after like the Big Three era, where they didn't have like too much defense. But I don't know. It's just crazy to see how like the shift is happening again. And I really thought that the league was going to be like heavily relied on 3-pointers. I thought I was gonna say like that forever, but I'm glad that now with the acquisition of like Anthony Davis and all those people like there in the Lakers, they're really starting to show that that you need big men. And even the Warriors signed DeMarcus Cousins, but he was injured. He was not producing the way that he normally does, so that was kind of like a flop for them. But it's just crazy to see how like the big men are just coming back, and for sure like people like especially Bam Adebayo is for sure gonna get a big contract when his contract is up for renewal, and especially young players like Jonathan Isaac and even people like Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, Blake Griffin. You know, the list goes on and on of these big men that can really get their money now because like they're actually needed.
Okay, so this is gonna sound really messed up, but hear me out. Honestly, Hassan and Whiteside fucked a lot of shit up for me. Okay. I like when when you said, "Oh, give Bam a big contract." Not saying that he's like Hassan Whiteside, but I feel like what Pat should do, and if he wants to be smart, and kind of how like Wade was, how he sacrificed a lot for the team. I want that culture to still stay relevant. You know?
Yeah, it's like for us, like if we can have, I want to keep this young core, and if they don't mind taking pay cuts, like when their contract extensions come up,
like they need, like I want them to kind of learn or get mentored in the way where like it's not about the money, but like if you are enjoying what you're doing now with this team, this chemistry, you know, some sacrifices have to be made. Now if you want to get paid, then some changes have to be made. So they kind of have to know what they want, and they have to be mature enough to pursue the bigger picture rather than, you know, the couple of years of fame and then decline because you had no supporting pieces around you because you wanted the money. Whiteside. But you know, it doesn't matter.
Bro, and I don't know, man. Like, for sure, Bam Adebayo is not a Hassan Whiteside type player. I think he's really in it for the culture and for, like, not just for the money. But, I mean, even, like, talking about big men, even Hassan Whiteside, like, he's having a decent year in Portland. And it's just that I'm just glad that type of game is needed again.
It's kind of like Jurassic Park, where the dinosaurs are coming back. That's what that is. And I'm happy about that because honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Golden State Warriors are a fantastic team. They are one of the best dynasties in recent NBA history, maybe all of NBA history. But it was just getting really boring watching blowouts night after night. It's just not fun to watch.
And it's really just because of a lot of scoring. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like high scoring games, and I feel like it's harder to defend the perimeter than it is to defend the paint, but it's harder to find paint defenders than there is to find perimeter defenders. So I guess that's kind of like the balance and the give and take of basketball.
I'm just glad that it's back. Basketball's back. I'm happy. This game that we've been watching is this
Yeah,
game
we've been
is
watching
really
the
good.
Heat Philly game, and it's a minute left, and it's close.
There's no blowout bullshit. This is real basketball. Right here. It's a close game, but with that being said,
thank you guys for listening. You know what it is. Like and subscribe. Share us. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. If you guys like the podcast, give us 5 stars. Share us on social media. We'd really appreciate it. And theopenshot.com, you can listen to us there. And we have some blogs that we write every once in a while that you can also read and share for us too.
And remember, kids, if your parents give you a Philadelphia jersey, burn that shit for Christmas.